Good evening and good day, my friends, and welcome back to the cottage. I hope you feel at home here with me. Today we are playing a gifted game, which was won by Emails, and we are playing the game he chose, which was Kerbal Space Program. And I did try it a little bit off of stream, and I've found that I do actually quite enjoy this game. It has definitely been an interesting one. Sure. Hello. Alright. So, what we're going to do today is we are going to do a little bit of the training to kind of get into it. And if we get through the tutorial by the end of stream, then we'll just mess around a little bit and see what we can do. So, let's get started. Do the first module, which is getting started and basic construction. It's going to be a lot of reading to begin with. So, this tutorial, presented by famous rocket scientist Werner von Kerman himself, covers the basics of rocket construction and the vehicle assembly building. He's waiting for you down there and is always in high demand. Don't dally. Alright, basic construction. Hello and welcome to today's lecture on vehicle construction. I'm Werner von Kerman. Whether you want to put a satellite into orbit, make a transcontinental flight, or step onto the very surface of the moon, you're going to need to build yourself a ship. It should be pretty easy even if you're not a famous rocket scientist like myself. In this tutorial... Did you just growl at me? It sounded like you growled at me and I don't know how to feel about that. In this tutorial, I will first show you around the Kerbal Space Center and take you to the vehicle assembly building, where you'll learn how to construct a simple ship. We'll cover adding and removing parts, what the parts do, how to change the performance settings of the parts which have that option, and how to control staging. At the end of the tutorial, you'll have a craft fit for a quick hop from the launch pad. At each step, I will lock out all controls other than the ones you need for that step. If you still manage to mess it up, it took me some time to become as skilled as I am now. You can press the back button to go back and fix things. It won't light up unless you do mess up. We are now at the Kerbal Space Center. I'll give you a quick rundown on how to get around. The KSC, for short, is home to the pinnacle of Kerbal endeavor and achievements for space exploration. Using the facilities you can see here, you will be able to manage your space program, create robots. Where did I get that from? Create rockets and planes, track your Kerbal explorers as they roam the solar system, find new exciting uses for explosive substances, oh boy, and in case of emergency, hire more Kerbals. In case, I kill some of them by accident, on purpose. Find out about each facilities. You can hover your mouse over them, or the facilities buttons. They show up when the cursor is outside this window. If you need to repair a structure or upgrade them in career, you can do this by right-clicking them. Take some time to hover the mouse over the buildings and see what they are, yada 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 yada. Okay, so this is the astronaut complex. Contains the living and recreation spaces for all our crew members. New applicants also apply here to be recruited. That's that. The flagpole, the official flag of the space program, or we can change it. This facility is locked, naturally. The launch pad is where the vessels are built, where the vessels built at the VAB are launched. We are reasonably confident it is at a safe enough distance from everything else. Let's see, let's put that up there. So, launch pad is over here. runway is here. The runway spacecraft built in the spaceplane hangar have a long flat surface to reach takeoff speed. Conceivably, such aircraft could even land back on it, provided I build it correctly and don't mess up. Spaceplane hangar. The spaceplane hangar allows construction of spacecraft designed to be launched from the runway. Tracking station. The tracking station, all ongoing missions can be viewed and focused. Landed craft can be recovered from here as well. And then, last but not least, the Vehicle Assembly Building, VAB, where spacecraft are designed and built before being moved over to the launch pad for flight. Alright, so that is the first place that we are going to be going. Right, inside the VAB. Very good. What you see in the middle of the screen is the construction area. This is where parts are placed and your craft is constructed. On the left side of the screen is the parts toolbox. It will show all the parts you have available in each of the different categories. And there are any to pick. Once there are any to pick, that is. If you want your craft to be controllable, you need a command module, and it is best to make it the first part you place. This part will contain some plucky Kerbal crew or an automated pilot mechanism. As we're just starting, there's only one choice. Go ahead and pick that command. So that would be the MK1 command pod. And I'm going to name this Emil's Mark 1. Alright, after at least one part is placed, you can look around with the following controls. Okay. You'd like your pilot to be able to make more than one flight. He or she will have to return safely to the ground or water on Kerbal. Parachutes are a simple way to make sure that happens. They can be found on the utility tab. If you're choosing parts, you can view the details. The info is visible. Most parts have an additional yada yada yada. Note that the parachute states the effective diameter at each state and what the maximum safe speed for deployment is. Let's get the MK16 parachute. Okay. Parts like our parachute here have configurable options. To see these, we need to right click. Do that now. You'll see the available parameters. For now, let's check that the opening height is at least 1,000 meters. The safety is the Kerbal way, after all. For the min pressure slider, move it to the right to 0.02. Or sorry, 0.2. There we go. This setting prevents the chute from activating until the atmospheric pressure is above the configured value. On Kerbal, 0.2 is about 9 kilometers in altitude, so even if you stage early and arm the parachute, it will wait until then to activate. Next. We're gonna need something to make us go. Click on the Engines tab. Engines. Okay. Right, you're just starting out. You're not a famous rocket scientist. Problem with that craft is the solid rocket is too powerful for the payload, a small pod and chute. It'll either burn up on ascent from going down too fast or burn up coming back down. Even if you survive that, the craft's mass will cause it to fall too fast for the parachute to operate properly and you hit the surface before it can stop you. I'll promise to teach you how to change that to make it work in a later tutorial, but for now let's continue. At least this way I get to tell you about removing parts. Like, drag to the left, put it back into the toolbox. Alright. Let's add the solid motor that's a better match for a ship of this size. The RT5 Lee. Okay. Alright. You've built the simplest survivable craft possible. Could launch this right now, but it might be safer to explain one thing first. In the bottom right, you will see the staging stack, which is this right here. What this shows is when we activate the next stage, both the engine and the parachute will be triggered. While it could be considered funny to open the chute and fire the motor at the same time, it's not going to give you much of a flight. To fix this, we need to separate the engine and the chute into two different stages. Let's add a stage and drag the engine icon into the first stage to give some comfort to our pilot. Now we have a safe, well, relatively safe craft that's ready to go. I feel like we're making stuff for the Outer Wilds pilots. Ooh, you know, that actually gives me an idea. Can I build the Outer Wilds spacecraft? This. I wonder if I could. I probably could, right? Let's get through the tutorial first, and then we'll start trying to craft the Outer Wilds thing to do that. Let's see. If we need this design again from, we don't have to build it all from scratch. I already named it. I just need to save it. Excellent work. Feel free to play around. Back to the training menu. Try the flight basics. Okay, so let's go and go back to here. Hello. All right, training, basic flight. Start. But this is our first flight. Baby's first flight. Oh, how cute. Right. Welcome to the Kerbal Space Center's launch facility. I'm Jean Kerman, and I will teach you the basics of piloting a spacecraft. I trust you've already checked the basic construction tutorial. I recommend you do so before going through this one, yada yada. We will do a run through of the important controls for a spacecraft. Our little hopper from your basic construction lesson with Werner may not have all of them, but we'll do a full run through once and see how it flies. If you're ready to go, press next. Flying a spacecraft is all about being in control of a very chaotic situation. As a pilot, your main flight controls will affect the pitch, yaw, and roll of the ship. Let's look at those first. Right, pitch, yaw, and roll are the three directions. We will rotate your craft, help you visualize that. We've taken a holiday snap of the hopper below. Alright, so pitch is S and W, and that's pitched right here. Okay, yaw left and right, and then roll. Throttle plus pitch, yaw, and roll are the main controls you'll need to master for a successful crash-free flight. We'll skip throttle control for now, as this vessel has no need for it. Don't worry, I'll explain it at another time when it's of use. Remember that all these controls have a limited amount of effectiveness, so bigger, heavier ships will probably respond much more sluggishly to the controls than a little one. Also good to keep in mind that as stages are separated from the ship, it will become lighter, and this will usually mean easier to control. In flight, all the planning you put into the staging sequence of your ship comes into play. From launch to final deployment of the descent parachutes, you control the activation of several of the ship's parts by activating stages. So space is how we launch and activate the stages. Notice the stage indicator in the lower left corner. It shows the currently active stage. So here's the stages. So we haven't launched yet. It's showing the first stage as active. Have your staging controls locked for now, so the stage indicator is showing purple. Let's see where it's purple. Oh, there it is. Purple. Got it. One more thing on staging. If the staging setup is causing strife or you change your mind about something, you can edit the stage sequence on the fly. Pun intended. No need to go back to the assembly facility. Important part of flying is knowing how your ship is oriented and where it's going. That's why a good pilot is always aware of the ship's altitude, where it is pointing, and its velocity vector, where it is going. These aren't always the same direction. As your skills improve, you should always pick up on those. The ground instrument in the lower center of the screen is called the nav ball. This device sums up most of the critical information needed for proper death-free flight. Here you see the ship's nose in relation to the horizon. When you're not pointing straight up, it's easily visible as a line between blue sky and the brown ground, as well as its heading, compass bearing, and speed. You'll also get several icons that indicate things like your current velocity vector, but we have a look at those later. The top center part of the screen, you have your altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and atmosphere gauges. Your altimeter will show the distance to the planet's surface at sea level. This means the actual surface may be much closer, so watch out for the ground when landing. Your vertical speed indicator shows how quickly your altitude is changing. When launching, it's considered best to keep this gauge pointing up. The atmosphere gauge indicates how deep the ship is in the planet's atmosphere. This helps you to know if the ship is high enough for orbiting without losing speed to air resistance, or judge how effective wings and control surfaces will be. Okay, so this, and these. Okay. Parachute indicators. One last thing before we give this rocket the green light. The stage and stack, you see the indicator for your parachute. The indicator shows when the chute will be activated by staging. You already know that. The background will change color to indicate when it's safe to stage the parachute. The foreground of the parachute, of the icon itself, will change color depending on the parachute state. Note, however, that by default, parachutes will not deploy when unsafe, even if you stage them. The left 3 shows safety, so that's white, yellow, and red. So safe, risky, and unsafe to deploy. Chute is unstaged, white in the left there. The right 3 shows state after staging, so armed, deployed, and cut shredded. When you are familiar with the icons, we can move on.
Aha!
Enough talk. I'll unlock the flight controls and you'll be clear for launch. At any time, you may press escape to pause the game. The pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial, choose end scenario, and return to the main menu. For now, get prepared and hit space when ready to launch. Don't forget, our hopper has only a solid rocket motor, so there's no throttle control, which is why we didn't review the throttle. Make sure to fly in a nice high arc and enjoy the flight. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. And up you go. You can try practicing some of the controls we discussed, such as pitch, yaw, and roll. Keep an eye on the parachute icon in the staging list that shows how safe the environment is for the chutes. When it goes to red, it won't deploy until it's clear again, even if you stage it. Realize this would be too much to learn in one go, so you can always, if you forget, you can always press escape and view key bindings. You can also see if you're enjoying the trip in the lower right-hand corner. I'll hang around to watch and let you know when it's safe to deploy the chute. Cool beans. Alright, solid motor has burned out and you're passing apopsis, highest point on your flight, and your speed is now low enough that it's safe to stage again to deploy the chute. Do so now before you speed up again and hit the surface. And now we enjoy the descent. Okay. I feel like that's going to be a very abrupt yank as the snow's down. Shoot, really good. There we go. Wobble, 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 wobble. Well, Valentina Kerman seems to be pretty unfussed about it. That's good. Not bad for a first flight. Let's wait until she lands to move on to the next thing. And touchdown. Well done, you've survived your first quick flight. Whether you've landed or splashed on Kerbal and not in training, you can point the mouse just above the altimeter and click the recover button on the panel that slides down asking to be picked up. Also unlocked the crew hatch, so if you feel like going out for a walk or swim, you can click the EVA extravehicular activity button that will pop up when you want to mouse over the portrait of the Kerbal you want to take out for a walk. You can do it just for fun or to collect a surface sample. This concludes today's lesson. Yada yada yada. So, oh, cool. Oh, that's cute. Well, and now that I let her out, I can't get her back in because there's no ladder on here. Because I didn't put a ladder there. Oops. Okay. That's fine. End scenario. Alright. So that was basic flight. Let's do intermediate construction. Hello again, glad you could come back. I guess you weren't fired immediately. To get started, go ahead and enter the VAB. Here we are again to business. We'll expand your knowledge of some of the more useful features in the VAB, and we'll build a more complex craft that will be able to get us out of the atmosphere. Hills 1.2. Open the hopper. Okay, let's remove that. We need to tweak the chute. We'll bring the whole vessel back so we can change our chute stats. So we need to change it to 75.75. That corresponds to an altitude of on Kerbal of about 2 kilometers, meaning a much shorter time hanging around it during descent. I'm going to give additional purpose. Attaching a science experiment. We can run these experiments during the travels and get valuable science data for Kerbal kind. There are a number of science experiments to be performed, but at the moment we only have the mysterious goo containment unit available. So switch to the science tab to look at it. This is one of the most basic scientific experiments Kerbal scientists have devised, and one of the first things they want to try to understand better. I mean, they don't even know what color the goo is. When you pick up the part, you'll see that it's designed to attach to the side of other parts, i.e. radially. If we only attach one of these during the flight, our craft will be unbalanced. One way to solve this is to add an extra goo container on the opposite side so they balance. Luckily, we have a symmetry tool to help here. These buttons right here control symmetry, highlighted in angle snap, we found yada yada. Put this to 2x. And place a mystery goo there. There we go. Near the nose of the cloud. Okay, yep, that's good. We add too many parts. The craft we are making will be too heavy to survive re-entry safely and too heavy to be slowed by our parachute, leading to sudden impact syndrome. We will need to add a decoupler. There we go. Be found under the coupling tab and will let us split the craft when we no longer need the lower parts. We won't be able to recover the discarded parts, but at least our craft and our Kerbal will survive re-entry and landing. It can be used in many ways, but for now let's just add one. Note that the stacked decouplers have arrows. The arrows show which side is the side that decouples. Make sure your decouples arrow is pointing up towards the pod. It will be by default. I hope you recall in the previous tutorial we had to adjust the staging stack when we added the engine to our earlier rocket. When you added a coupler, the extra stage is automatically added to the stack so that any new parts below the decoupler won't be staged at the same time as those above it. We can of course move these all around, but hopefully this will save some time as you go. If you ever want to return to this default, yada yada. I'm going to add a liquid propellant rocket engine this time. Go to the fuel tanks tab. We are still using these early parts, so they're only FLT 100s available. This is another area like engines where advancement brings bigger and better parts. We are going to need 5 of these tanks, but before we grab 5 of them, let me give you another tip. Because efficiency is my middle name, it goes right after fun. After you place the first tank on the rocket, you can duplicate that by using the left Alt key and clicking on the tank. So Alt 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. Engines tab. Swivel engine is different from the flea engine. It is a liquid engine and needs and burns both liquid fuel and oxidizer. Funnily enough, that's what we just added to the rocket. Attach the thing there. And the eye on the staging stack, see where it changes. Cool. We're almost there and doing fine, not as speedily as some yada yada. Last thing we need is to give it a little better stability so it keeps going the way we want it to go. We will achieve this by adding some fins near the bottom of the rocket. Fins can be found in the aerodynamics tab. Dynamics. Also turn the symmetry to 4 times, so we will place them on both axes. Also turn on angle snap. And turn on angle snap, yada yada yada. Drop the basic fin on the last rocket tank. The last rocket tank right there. You'll see the other 3 symmetry counterparts were placed as well. Next. Excellent. We've got a rocket that will allow us to reach the stars. Admittedly, I did say reach for, as this is a basic rocket, which I can't achieve orbit. But on the bright side, that means re-entry will also be basic. Great job. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. So we'll just exit out of that. Go back to tutorial. That was intermediate. So let's go to suborbital flight. If that ends points to space, you are having a bad problem and will not be going to space today. That is correct. Hello again. Glad you could make it back. Today we take an exciting step, getting our first Kerbal into space. Yes, with a capital S. Well, you remember the controls we discussed in the basic flight tutorial, but don't forget you can always press escape. You're ready? Get started. Alright, your mission today is to take a short suborbital, less than orbital, flight out over the water to the east. It's a nice arcing path that ensures a gentle, survivable re-entry. Straight up, then straight down is not so good for survival. I've set up the pink target indicator right there on the nav ball as aim point, but do note that this is not the case for normal missions. The target marker is usually used for other things and does not help with descents. Starting with the noise pointing straight up on the launch pad or 90 degrees elevation from the eastern horizon. Tilt east 80 degrees elevation on the nav ball by 150 miles per second. Sorry, miles or meters? I'm gonna assume meters per second because they were talking about kilometers earlier. We start at 50 meters per second. Tilt east to 70 degrees on the nav ball by 400 meters per second. Start at 250 meters per second. After burnout, coast up into space and have a look around. Prepare for re-entry. Lastly, re-enter and land safely. Once we reach burnout, i.e. run out of propellant, we'll have a bit more time to discuss some other things. Unlike the Hopper in our first lesson, this new craft has liquid fuel engines. That means we can use the throttle to set the output power of the ship's engines. Throttle is controlled by the following keys: left shift, left control, Z, and X. So that's throttle up, throttle down, throttle max, and throttle cut off. So let's see. That's doing that. Control B and X. Okay. Excuse me. SAS stands for Stability Augmentation System, although Kerbal's astronauts usually refer to it as Sickness Avoidance Scheme. Whatever it stands for, what it does is try to stop the ship from spinning around using the computer-controlled auto-torque drive compensator technology to counteract the rotation of the ship. In its simplest mode, when it will keep the ship aligned with the orientation it has when you turn SAS on. Or if you pitch, yaw, roll while SAS is on, the orientation when you release the controls. SAS can be activated or deactivated if on momentarily by pressing down on the F key. It can be toggled by pressing the T key. If If you have problems during the maneuvers, once you enable SAF and liftoff, you can click the small red button to the left of the nav ball. It has a miniature target indicator. I mean, there's toggle SAS. Lower left of all the buttons. See what that's saying, but okay. That will cause the SAS to follow the target indicator and fly for you. The autopiloting function will not be available until you are flying. I'm sure it'll be okay. This craft has a bit too much engine, so we're going to throttle down for launch. Set your throttle to 2/3, 2/3. The upper of the two middle notches on the slider. Turn SAS on to help control things. It'll help keep you pointed where you want to be pointed. So let's there we go. Next. During the lesson, some of the information is quite detailed and could take a while to read as it's a short orbital hop, and I don't want you to miss anything important. I will place a warning at the top of the pages where you might want to pause the game to read. It will look like this. Enough talk, I'll unlock the rest of the flight controls and you'll be clear to launch. Anytime you may press escape to pause the game. In the pause menu, you can restart the flight or end this tutorial and return to the main menu. I've enabled the target marker on the nav ball. Give it a look to make sure you see it, and then let's get ready to light this candle. Double check that your throttle is set to 2/3 and the SAS is enabled. Hit space when you're ready to launch. Remember to start turning at 50 meters per second. Wait for a bit more speed before we start to turn. Right. Right. Welcome in, Navy Tiger Racing. I might do that at some point, but we are definitely just demoing it right now. Okay, here. Go ahead and throttle up to full power. Hold steady. We are cooking now. Get up to these higher speeds, you might start to see some... Whoop. Okay, so game paused. Great work, you've succeeded in getting your ship on a trajectory bound for space. I've now set your target indicator to align with your velocity vector. That will minimize drag by turning the smallest side of the vehicle into the airflow. Somewhere around here you will start to see the nav ball speed indicator auto switch from surface to orbit, accompanied by the speed number jumping. Go ahead and switch it back to surface mode by clicking on it until it says surface again. You may have noticed some flickering flames near the end of our burn there, which is due to the high speed of your craft in the atmosphere. Normally our ascent would be a little slower, but I'm sure my friend Werner has helped you build a ship that can withstand this heat, and besides this high and this slow, you'll be fine. If you want to have a look at your trajectory, you can switch to the map, to yada, yada, yada. Okay. Now we are coasting to, I never know how to say this, Apopsis? Apoapsis? This is why I'm not in aerospace anymore. That's the highest point on the current projected path. We've got a little time to chat. Once you clear the atmosphere, we'll go over what you can do in space. Okay. And we've got Jebediah Kerman. I've heard stories about Jebediah. So apparently in the early days, the other Kerbals, like Victoria and such, if stuff started getting a little crazy, what would happen is the Kerbal would start like freaking out and going, ah, okay. Deb, he didn't give 2 hecks. He would just kind of chill. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Still coasting? Be cool. But yeah, Navy, we'll go through that maybe once we've gone through all the different tutorials, because this is my first time touching this. Great. What to do in space? While we float up here and beyond the atmosphere, I'll quickly tell you a couple of things that you can do. With an advanced enough astronaut complex in the KSC, we can train our Kerbals to be able to spacewalk or EVA, though we won't be doing this on this flight. When we're carrying space devices like our goo containers, we can perform experiments. Feel free to play with it by right-clicking on them. I'll let you know when it's time for the next phase of the flight. Okay. What can we do with that? Observe mystery goo. Seems to have clumped together into a sphere. It appears to have become brittle. Let's transmit the data. No usable comm devices. We can't transmit. Okay. Reset the container, I guess. So it's become brittle, and it's interesting. Alright, time to pause again. As we near the edge of the atmosphere again, it's time to reorient the pod to get ready for re-entry. We're only going to re-enter with the pod and chute and goo canisters, and we're not going to decouple yet. In real missions, it's best to keep your upper stage around until the last moment. You never know when you might need it. Anyway, it's best to re-enter bottom first. Since we ascended at about 70 degrees pitch, we'll naturally re-enter at about negative 70 degrees pitch. Which means you want to aim the top of the capsule at 70 degrees pitch line, but the opposite heading. This is at a heading of 250 on the nav ball and 70 degrees pitch, where I've placed the target marker there to help you see where these lies. Turn off SAS, change your attitude, and then turn it back on again. Okay. There we go. So, fun fact, my husband is actually an aerospace engineer, plays this extensively, has a ton of mods, and he has a tendency to put a ton of mods on it to make it more realistic. Okay, time to get rid of the booster since it's just weighing us down. Stage to discard the unneeded parts. Alright, detailed info. You are now re-entering Kerbin's atmosphere. Make sure to keep all hands and feet inside the pod at all times. We don't want you getting burnt or anything. Don't mind the flames. Werner is a world-famous rocket scientist. After all, he's built this ship to withstand them. Last time we watched the parachute icon to wait for the right time to open the chute. This time we are going to do a little something different. Remember in the construction where you designed the vessel, you set the chute not to semi-deploy until 0.75 atmospheres of pressure. That means the chute won't perform in the first of its 2 deployment stages until then, even if you activate it by staging now. On Kerbal, 0.7 atmosphere means about 2,000 meters at altitude above sea level, and the craft should be traveling slowly enough by then that the chute will survive deployment. Take the bold step of arming the chute now and let the smarts in there pop it at the right altitude. You know you can trust me. Stage the chute now. Awesome. So while we set your chute not to actually semi-deploy until about 2 kilometers, we do look out for you at Mission Control. We do need to ensure that the opening height, its second full deployment step, is correct. You can even adjust these parameters during flight, so you right-click the chute now and check the sliders. Let's see. Don't touch the pressure slider or bad things will happen. Make sure the full deploy is no less than 1,000, or you will not have enough time to slow down. While we're waiting, I want you to look at the bottom of the capsule. If you note that you do not have a heat shield, you don't need one because this is such a gentle flight. Actually, a heat shield would make things more dangerous on this craft because of the additional mass would be pushing the limits of the model of parachute. Hey. Whoop. Look at Jeb. Like, wee! He's just having a blast. Yeehaw! Gotta love Jeb. I don't know when the SAS got toggled off. Right, there we go. Now we're starting to see some heat. Okay. If I did it right and followed all the instructions correctly, it will not deploy until, like, very late the descent. Shoots away. And now we enjoy a leisurely float down to the surface. Sweet. Deployed. Cool beans. Love that. And then it'll touch down in the water. But yeah, what I was saying, my husband, Lawn Dart, he He plays a lot of this game, and I don't think it was actually him who ended up buying it for me. I don't remember who gifted it to me. I think someone had a like a gift code that they ended up using for me. Alright. Welcome back and congrats on completing and surviving your first mission. You've managed to launch, control your vessel in space, orient yourself correctly, and land safely. It's quite an achievement. If you want to practice this again, yada 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 yada. Okay. That's it for that. Let's go to the next construction scenario. I do enjoy the construction bits. So that was suborbital flight. Let's go to advanced construction. I will say the reading is what's taking up the majority of the time. Great, welcome to the third and final tutorial about construction. Advanced construction tutorial. I've had to delay some important work today to fit this in, so pay attention as I show you how a real rocket scientist makes orbital craft. Go inside the VAB. Right. In our last tutorial, we built a vessel that could escape our atmosphere, but did not have enough oomph to escape for long. This time around, we'll cover more advanced rocket design concepts like multiple stages and boosters, as well as the extra parts like RCS and solar panels. You'll want these if you want to spend more than a few minutes in orbit. When we're done, you'll have a craft capable of ascent to orbit, orbital operations, and a safe return to Kerbal. You can test it out in the Go for Orbit tutorial, which will teach you how to make use of it all. You'll notice that there are a lot more parts available this time. That's because an orbital capable craft is much more complex than that little puddle jumper that I showed you how to make last time. However, the main principles are the same, so I hope you remember what I taught you. Again, you only have one pod available, so go ahead and select it. Select a parachute and add it. And adjust perimeters. Going to construct an upper stage. The upper stage will finish placing the pod in orbit, and once they're provide RCS steering, thrusters, and electricity for the pod, it will also provide all maneuvering capability in orbit, including the re-entry burn. It's going to consist of the coupler, we don't want to carry it home, an RCS fuel tank, a liquid fuel tank, 4 RCS thrusters, 4 solar panels, 4 batteries, and an efficient upper stage engine. It's quite the shopping list, isn't it? Let me know when you're ready to proceed. First, we will add a stack decoupler. Load the pod to let us discard the parts we don't want to bring back with us. Grab a decoupler from the toolbox and attach it to the bottom of the pod, paying close attention so that its little red arrows, as we discussed before, point up. Yep, points up. Slightly hard to see, but it's right there. Make sure the coupler is oriented the right way. The arrows are pointed down, that's not good. RCS tank. Tanks. Fuel tanks. So this is the RCS tank. Your craft is not going to need all the mono repellent in the tank, so to save weight, right click and take it down to about 96 units. RCS is generally less efficient, but it's good for small velocity changes in any direction rather than just forwards like the main engines do, and can be used to rotate the craft as well as move it. we'll be adding multiple liquid fuel tanks in this stage to get the right amount for the upper stage engine, and we need an extra tank to offset the weight of the RCS. Add a tiny T100 fuel tank, then a medium T400. Lastly, we'll add an engine. The Terrier produces almost no thrust at sea level air pressure, but is highly efficient in space and above 20 kilometers, where the atmosphere is thin enough not to interfere with the exhaust. This makes it a good choice for an upper stage, since the engine will not be activated until the rocket has reached conditions where this kind of engine works well. You select the wrong engine, blah 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 blah. Carrier. This is the carrier. So done. Pretty well assembled upper stage, if I do say myself. Will get you to orbit if you put enough rocket underneath it. While we have this reasonably simple vessel here, let's explore one of the other tools you have available to make sure it flies comfortably. Some parts need to be placed carefully around a point inside the ship called center of mass. COM is a spot where the mass on one side is balanced by the mass on the other side. Thrust applied through the COM will cause the ship to move without unwanted rotation, while thrust properly applied around the COM will cause the ship to rotate without moving. This makes the COM such a useful and important thing that we added a tool in the assembling building and show it to you with a marker. Let's have a look at how that indicator works here on the COM. Here it is. Adjust the fuel level in some of the tanks and see how that affects the center of mass. So that moves it. Interesting. Go ahead and refill. Alright, go ahead and refill, and we can proceed to some of the accessories. They'll transform it from merely something that gets us into orbit into something that helps us once we get there. Now that you know where the COM is, when the stage is full and when it's empty, you have the information you need to place RCS thrusters. RCS thrusters are found in the command and control category. Moving the ship around without rotating is called translation. It's a useful kind of maneuver for several reasons, including docking to another aircraft. In order for translation with the RCS to avoid unwanted rotation, you need to balance the thrusters around the COM so the net sum of forces is balanced right on this natural pivot point. Two equal sets of thrusters. Each set should be equidistant from the COM. For a single set, what we're doing here, be right around the COM itself. What makes this complicated is that the COM changes during flight, as you just saw, so you need to place the thruster at a compromise point between the wet COM and the dry COM. Note that in career mode games, RCS thrusters don't become available till fairly late. In the meantime, the reaction wheel capability built into your command pod will be enough for turning in space, though reaction wheels will not allow you to translate. Let's turn on angle snap, which is already on, to make aligning the thruster parts easier. Yada yada yada. Let's get the thruster blocks. Okay, and we need 4 of them. And let's see, where are we going to place? Tiny rocket propeller tank. In case you need it. Don't get the placement right. You can offset gizmo to here. able to read. Figure out where I'm putting these. Maybe if I just fiddle with it a little bit. Oh. I just needed to turn the COM off. Boy. That's fine. Also, things on a craft use electric charge. That's what our cool scientists call rocket electricity. In order to keep your batteries topped up, you will need a way of generating power. Some engines generate electricity when they're running, but you don't want to keep your engine running in orbit. Orbit would get all kinds of messed up and you will run out of propellant. Our command pod has some batteries built into it, but to be safe, you can add more batteries. You can add solar panels or other electricity generating items. I'm going to do both. Switch to the electrical, and we have angle snap on and core mode. We're going to get a solar panel and put it over the lower end of the fuel tanks. Press A to rotate it. It says fuel tank, right? Yeah. And batteries. There we go. Well, it worked. You've built a nice starter upper stage, which will do well for some exploration. And we need to work on getting it up to orbit, and for that we will do a lower stage. In comparison to the upper stage, it's quite simple, just a couple of tanks and an engine. It won't be enough, however, so we'll add some boosters too. Another coupler. Okay. Coupler. We'll need this during our ascent to discard the empty parts of the vessel below. We'll notice how you add the decoupler. The fairing is placed around the engine. This will get jettisoned automatically when we stage the coupler. Now we need to add fuel tanks for our lower stage. Add 2 of the medium rocket propellant tanks, the T400. So 2. 1, 2. For our lower stage, we need an engine that is a sustainer. It's an engine that burns from liftoff until well after the boosters separate. Let's get scientific for a second. Rocket engine performance is measured by specific impulse for ISP. The ISP of a engine changes as the amount of atmospheric pressure around it changes. Just as the upper stage needed an engine that is good at low air pressures of high altitudes, the lower stage will need boosters, which are powerful at the higher air pressure of the low altitude of the launch pad. To help carry the rocket through the transition from launch to upper stage, it will need a sustainer engine, which usually sits between boosters and upper stage engines from a performance perspective, having a wide range between the two. So add the big engine you see there, the swivel bottom of the tanks as our sustainer. At its default thrust level, the swivel is too powerful for the rocket we're creating and for the ascent profile we're trying to teach you in the Go for Orbit tutorial. So you'll need to lower its thrust level. It's not a good solution as picking a smaller, lighter engine with the thrust level we want, but there are so many options. Only so many options. Right-click the swivel and lower its thrust limiter to 65. 65. It will then only produce 65% of its full thrust potential, but will also run longer because it's only burning 65% as much fuel. You'll now have the core of your rocket completed, but as I said before, we'll also be adding boosters to help the sustainer engine get the rocket up and running. We'll add 2 boosters symmetrically so that we keep our craft balanced and to make sure we don't lug the useless dry mass of the boosters around after they burn out. We'll attach them using decouplers. This time, however, we'll use radial decouplers so the boosters can sit beside our lower stage core instead of under it. That way, the sustainer and boosters can fire at the same time. Select the radial decoupler and add it into symmetry. Near the bottom of the lowest stage. More boosters is something you often hear around the KSC, and now it's time to add some. Add a pair of 10 hammer SRBs to the decouplers so we have that early kick. Hammer. Get on there, please. No. Okay, there it is. Cool. No. Nope. There we go. Finally. Okay. Unlike liquid fuel engines, where you can just adjust the throttle during flight, once you light an SRB, it burns at a constant thrust until it's out of fuel. You can, however, use the throttle limiter as we did on the swivel to set that constant thrust before we roll out to the launch pad. Right-click on the SRBs and change its thrust limiter to 50. Do note that changing a tweakable value on one part that's in place using symmetry will have the same change applied to its symmetry counterparts. Right now the SRBs have flat pancake tops, which is simply not a good look and also bad aerodynamically. Let's put a couple nose cones on. There we go. Great. Let's add some fins too. Fins come in various shapes and sizes. These fins are controllable surface. Put winglets in 4x symmetry. And that did it for that. Excellent, we've got all the components on our basic orbital rocket, but let's run through a few extra things before we call it a day. First, we should review the staging stack to check the order of actions and parts displayed here. It's luckily I've highlighted this for you because the SRBs are set to fire before the sustainer, and that just won't do. You won't have enough thrust to get off the pad that way. Move the swivel staging icon down to the same stage as the SRBs. Okay. So that will automatically create a staging sequence would work if we don't want the long burning sustainer to ignite at the same time as the high thrust boosters, but since we do, we had to adjust it manually. Here we go. Finally, pick up the pod and rotate it 90 degrees on the vertical axis. Press Q or E. Rotate the ship not just in the VAB, but also set its orientation when we go to the launch pad, so our desired flight. Heading of east, 90 will be a simple matter of steering pitch up and down axis rather than yaw. Okay, I'm pressing Q and E. What am I missing here? Okay. Goal is to make every effort to ensure our brave crew survive, and hopefully you will take the same stance in your program. Doesn't always work out that way, of course, but it's not, it's the thought that counts. At least to those of us not in the rocket at the time. With that in mind, let's set up an abort action group for your craft. For use in case of emergency, note that in career mode you'll have to upgrade the VAB in order to get access action groups. Click on the turquoise action groups button in the left of the toolbar. It's part of a cluster of 3 buttons. Purple. Sorry, turquoise? Oh, here we go. Actions. Oh, excuse me. Let's make every effort to ensure our brave crew survive and... Okay. Action groups allow you to assign the functions of one or more parts to a single specific key. For some default action groups, landing gear automatically go into the gear group, brakes on wheels go into the brake group, etc., and some custom ones are activated by the keyboard, not keypad numbers. So the order of these keys on the standard boards, the action groups are numbered 1 through 9 and then 0. Set up an action group, click the desired action key from the menu, and then click the part you want to activate. The group's actions already assigned to that group here in the group actions column, and the actions that can be assigned from the selected part here in the selection column. Add and remove items. Simply click on them to move them left or right between the columns. Clear all action group selections from a part. Click reset in the selection menu. We're going to set up the abort action group, triggered by pressing backspace or clicking the big red abort button, and the light lights out from the left of the altitude panel. First click the abort. Next. Click the decoupler, be right below the pod. Each liquid engine. Click. Now. Do the shutdown. Oh, disable. Try this again. So let's see. Right. Each liquid engine in turn. So that's just fuel tank. Table. That should shut down both of them. Finally, click on one of the radial decouplers. Toggle. I blind? I slightly feel like I'm blind. Where's the decoupler? That's the decoupler there. I've already dealt with that, I thought. Do I just need to do any of the radial couplers? Wait, radial decouplers. I am dumb. Couple. Let me read through this again and see if I understand better. Start from the beginning. Click the decoupler right below pod and decouple. Each liquid engine. Liquid engine. Shut down. Liquid filter. Okay, so this is a liquid fuel tank. Or that's a fuel engine. Okay, all the liquid fuel? It says liquid engine. Liquid fuel engine and torque. Turn. That's a fuel tank. That's a fuel tank. Sometimes reading comprehension isn't my strong suit. Great. Liquid fuel engine. Put down engine. Fuel tank. Fuel tank. Fuel engine. Put down engine. Like the radial decouplers. Decouple. There we go. Like I said, comprehension, not my best suit. Put the decoupler on the right below pod. Yada yada. Great. Now once you trigger the abort action in flight, the engines will shut down, or if they can't shut down, be decoupled. The capsule will separate from the rest of the ship, and it should be safe to land by itself. Remember to deploy your chute once it's safe, however. This might require staging a number of times. The stage counter won't advance by itself, and parts decouple before they are staged. You have it, your orbital rocket is ready to fly. It's been a long lesson, especially longer when I can't read and understand what I'm reading. Thanks for hanging in there. Thank you, viewers, for hanging in there with me throughout me being dumb, in which we've covered lots of different advanced techniques for rocket construction. Give the new ship a name, and we'll save it. That's always good practice. You go try flying it, go for orbit. Alright. Training, go for orbit. Okie dokie. And this might be the last bit that we get to do for today because we have 30 minutes left to stream. So, we'll see. Alright, today we will tackle a absolutely essential skill for any space program, getting to orbit. Without this skill, we might as well be teaching you Kerbal Space Simulator. Hey Chase, how's it going? We are doing the Go for Orbit tutorial. I trust you've already checked out the other flight tutorials as well as the advanced instruction one to be familiar with the Kerbal 1 vessel we will be launching today. I highly recommend you do so before going through this one. If you want to go back and try the others, then press escape and choose that scenario, yada 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 yada. Alright. Alright, let's do it. As I said before, the plan here is to get our vessel and pilot safely to orbit. We've got lovely Valentina Kerman here. As with the suborbital flight, like I said, I'm not the best at reading aloud. We did previously. We will follow a curved path to get to the point where we can circularize our orbit. Today's gravity turn, however, will be much shallower than the path we followed previously so that we build speed towards orbit. This is different from how the Kerbal pilots of old did it. They would head straight up and then hang a right as if the air was soup or something. We'll be turning early and smoothly, but don't turn too far right or you might be mistaken for one of those low-flying turkeys. As with the previous flight, I will place a target marker on the nav ball to show you the optimal velocity vector. But do note that this indicator won't be around normally and is not usually used the way the tutorial uses it. I'll also display some technical information about your flight path as you go to help you learn the right way to get there. Now set your throttle to the max, press C, and prepare to launch. Right. You should now see the marker on the nav ball, so you'll have something to follow, and this ship has been designed so that you don't need to worry about throttle control during the ascent. Hit space when you are ready to go for orbit. If you want Valentina, the Kerbal space pilot, to fly the curve for you, then you can enable SAS, set the mode to target after liftoff. Great. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Don't need to worry about your throttle, you'll just need to pay attention to the target marker. Start pitching down, follow that target marker. Don't worry about your throttle. Prompt you along the way. The beans. And this does not look suggestive at all. We're almost out of fuel in the SRBs. Get ready to eject them by staging. Need to press. Uh-oh. Something went wrong here, you're way off course. You'll need to be quick about following the instructions. Still have left. Try reaching the orbit on your own, or you can try aborting and landing safely. Always a good skill. What went wrong? Where's the abort? It does feel like a 2001 learning adventure game. Abort was where? Base. Valentina, do you know where abort is? Hi, Valentina. Revert flight. Revert to launch. Not exactly sure what was the issue. Let's try that again, shall we? Oh, we need to start pitching down. Down to 60? Doing wrong. See. That error message before, or what's going on here. The objective of the game eventually is to basically run different scenarios and oh, okay. So I think I know what I'm doing here. So basically, you're trying to get to the moon, but the tutorial is what I'm going through currently. I actually need to pay attention. The SAS loves me. Once that gets to 60, we need to start down, following that purple marker. going to pause for a second to read this. Excellent, you've survived through the first phase of the launch, and now we have a longer, more gentle burn to accelerate towards apopsis. Switch to map mode, we can have a look. Watch the apopsis ride as we gain speed. Keep an eye on that trajectory. Pause for a second so I can read this again. Keep an eye on that trajectory while we track our future path. If you hover over the apopsis node on the map, you will be able to see the estimated highest altitude on your future path. Right-click on that marker to pin it so that it remains visible even when you move your mouse away. We need to keep burning along that path until we will clear the atmosphere by a handy margin. We'll aim for about 80 kilometers. Cut the engine, press X once the apopsis hits 80 kilometers. I'll cut it for you once it passes 81. Meanwhile, I'll keep the altitude display open so you can track your progress ascending, and apopsis display to track your progress, reaching 80 kilometers. That clears 80. Basically, like I said before, the objective is here's Kerman, and there's Moon, there's Minmus, and so basically you're trying to get to a whole bunch of different places. You can do that throughout a couple of different things. So basically, it's space exploration, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, and as you can see, the apopsis is starting to get bigger and bigger. Okay, and that's going to get us there. And I've made sure to be make sure the engine is cut off now, and we'll coast until we clear the atmosphere at 70 km altitude. You may notice your speed dropping a little as we coast. There's nothing to be concerned about. It's just gravity trying to bring us down and air trying to prevent our success. We'll beat it though. You're looking good. Meanwhile, I'll keep an altitude display open so you can track your progress ascending to your apopsis. Okay. That's where we are. No, this is where we are currently. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself. I mean, I was an aerospace detail designer. But that all being said, this is rather new for me because I did not deal with anything in space. I just dealt with airplanes. So, yeah. I never dealt with spaceships. Alright, warping ahead. Now that we're clear of the atmosphere, we can warp ahead through time. We're time travelers. Get to the apopsis more quickly. Important rocket scientists like us do not have time to waste. Press next when you're ready and we'll warp until it's time to make our next burn. The airplanes can go to space if you try hard enough. Not wrong. Right, we're almost there. What we need to do is accelerate some more so we fall past Kerbal. That's basically what an orbit is. Falling and missing. Gravity will be pulling us towards the center of Kerbal, but we will be traveling so fast that we constantly miss. Rotate your craft to align it with the prograde marker. We'll learn more about that later, or use SAS maneuver mode. When it's time to throttle up, I'll tell you. that's when I'm going to do the next burn in the next stage. But we're kind of learning science right now, honestly. I've learned more about space exploration than I thought. Because, like, I really need to learn how to say apopsis right. Because I don't think I'm doing it right. Right, throttle up. Your engines once you've completed the burn. So... Alright, congratulations! You are now officially in orbit. That's quite the achievement. Hopefully you can see the difference between the suborbital hop and this reaching orbit ascent, and just how far and early we turned. Notice how we designed our rocket to accelerate racily through the ascent and didn't go straight to ludicrous speed. Overpowering the ship is a common rookie mistake. As far as I will be taking you today, you can catch up in the Orbit 101 tutorial where I show you orbits and adjusting them. If you want to fly solo for a bit, you can also try bringing Valentina home. From this tutorial flight, you will need to turn 180 degrees and burn retrograde until your periapsis is less than 20 kilometers, at which height the atmosphere will do most of the braking for you. Stage away the upper stage. When you hit the atmosphere's edge, orient retrograde and re-enter like I taught you in the Flight Basics tutorial, or simply choose end scenario from the pause menu, and I'll see you later. What do you think? I didn't save any of that information. Should we just end scenario then? We're just gonna leave for who's in our... Just leave poor Valentina in there. Ooh. Oh, that's pretty. That's super pretty. Do we try to bring Valentina home, or do we just leave her stranded in space? I don't know. Yeah, she good. The music is pretty good too. Like, it's got that space music to it. It's very zen, very calming. Love that. It's beautiful. If I wasn't super claustrophobic, I probably would have tried to become an astronaut at some point. Really neat. Alright, well, she's good. End scenario. Bye, Valentina. Nice knowing you. Great. I think we... I don't know. I don't know if we have enough time. I don't think we have enough time to try orbiting 101 before I have to leave, because we only got 10 minutes left. So I think I'm going to just cut it early. And also show off a couple new things about stream and just go over some info. So let's see. Where did I have that? Don't have that. Add. Sorry. Everything's going everywhere. Okay. So, that was Kerbal Space Program. On Saturday, we will be playing more of Rhyolite, potentially multiplayer. If I can get people to play with me, that'd be great. But if I don't, that's also fine. I can roll solo if I need to. Because we've got a couple of bugs that we thought we hit, but it's also possible that we were just, being goobers and not understanding how it worked. Let's see. Channel stuff. I do have a Wheel of Fortune. So, basically, it's a wheel spin that you can redeem from the channel points. And as always, the channel points has a couple of different things. So you have the Gifted Game Challenge, which is always basically the last person who donates points to the challenge is the one who ends up winning it overall. And so what you really want to do is be the last one to put in points to get us over the edge to 100%, because what that does is it makes it where you get to choose from a list of my gifted games. Currently, I knew it was like 30 games or something like that. A lot of people keep on giving me games. Not that that's a bad thing, it's great. I love it. But it means that I've just got this list that's just growing and growing and growing. You got a lot of peanuts. I completely understand. But once we run out of gifted games, I've expanded that to I'm including more categories. I have all of my games categoried into E for everyone, teen, mature, and multiplayer games. So there's still a lot of games in there that I have never touched. And I will be trying to get to the point where I have at least played each one of my games in my entire Steam library at least once. That is the goal. But yeah, so that's there. We have a couple of new channel redeems. We've got positive affirmations. We have I had a couple more in there, but I'd have to double check. But the Wheel of Fortune is one of the new ones. It's 100 channel peanuts, and basically you get to spin the wheel. And that is redeemable a lot of times, I think, actually. The other thing is the the stream store. So Tiz, this is specifically for you. So the stream store is basically you are able to use channel peanuts to basically talk on my channel using text-to-speech. Get that. Did I do that right on my stream deck? Let me double check. Stream deck. Deck. You. Yes. Go. No, I did not. Okay, there we go. So there's the link for that, and you would be able to, or if it was how many points it required, I think it was like maybe 1,000 points or something like that. But basically it enables you to be able to talk. But yeah, let's see what else we're gonna do. I don't think I have anything planned for next week yet. It's probably going to be more Groon. So it would be like Tuesday's Groon, Thursday's Groon unless we end up doing the Gifted Game Challenge and getting it finished. And then Cryolite seems to be tending to be on Saturdays only. But yeah. But the amount of stuff that we have in my stream library is super expansive. So, like, for an example, in E for Everyone, I've got a whole bunch of different Monkey Island games. I've got Unravel 1 and 2, to name a few. In Team Games, I have Cuphead, Necrobarista, Pathless, a whole bunch of Sherlock Holmes games, Station, Talos Principle, Turing Test, What Remains of Edith Finch. In mature games, I've got Bioshock Remastered, Bioshock 2, Bioshock Remastered 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 2, Dead Island, Skyrim, Fallout New Vegas, Paradise Killer. Paradise Killer is good, and I really do want to play that at some point because it's absolutely ridiculous. Nier Automata, Prey, Telling Lies. Have I played Skyrim or New Vegas? I've actually never played New Vegas. I have played Skyrim before, not on stream, but I have never managed to get very far because it is not kind to my ADHD at all. There is too much to look at, too much to do, and it's just oof. There's another AI Somnium Files on the way. Oh my god. That is actually really tempting, but I didn't even finish the second one on stream, so I don't know. I feel like I'd have to go back and replay the second one, and I uninstalled it so it didn't save my last bit. Between the first two. Oh, so I wouldn't have to go? Then that means it would be a potential. Yeah, if I don't have to go back and play the second game, then one day after the ending. Oh gosh, after that stupid dance scene. Chase, if you want to understand what I'm talking about, it's on my YouTube channel. Just go and watch AI Somnium Files. No sleep. Amidate. Oh, jeez. Anyways, back to the list. Oh, it's hysterical. You'll love it. Just go watch it. Just go binge it. The other mature games I have, Telling Lies, Yakuza 0, 12 minutes, oh god, Zero Escape the Nonary games and Zero Time Dilemma. Now, those two games are absolutely insane. And definitely deserve the mature rating. Because we're talking about stuff like the, it's got all these philosophy problems on it, like the trolley problem. It's got the, it's not just the trolley problem, it's the tray problem. It's all these philosophy thought things that is just absolutely insane, and there's murder, and it deserves its mature rating. I am family friendly, but the games that I have are not. They're not. So the number one thing that you always want to keep an eye on is what is the rating in the stream title. I will put whether it's E for everyone, whether it's teen, whether it's mature, 18 plus, etc. And there will be a ESRB rating in the corner of the screen, so you can't yell at me for not playing a family-friendly stream or game. So that's mature games. Multiplayer games, I have 7 Days to Die, Among Us, Elder Scrolls Online, I haven't even touched that. Of course, we've got Forewarned, Golf with Friends, Jackbox Party, and then I found something called The Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2, which is something where I think people can interact with it. Labyrinthine is Phasmophobia, Portal 2, Rec Room is a VR only, but hope to get that working at some point. Supermarket Together. Kiwi, oh, actually, Tiz, if you get Kiwi, I will play that with you. I think you would love that game. It is an adorable little game. You're little Kiwis from, like, Australia, and you are trying to do post office stuff. And it's a co-op game. I think you would love that. It's very, very cute, very good. That's a mature game. Sorry, that was multiplayer. Where's the teen games? Pretty teen games. Good. I think that's pretty much it. And uncategorized. I think there was more. Oh, Bomber Grounds Reborn, Calico, Florence, Headliners. Headliners would be a multiplayer game, so would Murky Divers. Murky Divers, actually, you can have up to 8 players, which is really kind of cool. Oh Sir, the Insult Simulator, which is, I've heard, really good. Tangle Tower is a really good mystery game. And there's just a variety of other stuff. But, yeah. Very cool stuff. I think that's pretty much it for today. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this demo of Kerbal Space Program. And, I didn't crash. So, I did abandon Valentina in space. But that's Chase's fault. Not my fault. It's Chase's. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys will come back for Tuesday's stream. And as always, stay hydrated, stay sane, and have a good night's sleep. I'll see you in the next time. Bye-bye! Where are you? There we go.